Good Sunday morning, folks, and thanks for joining us this morning. I hope you all are having a fantastic weekend so far. Well, joining us this morning, we are talking about the Be Fast Beat Stroke 5K. But before we get into all of those great details and how you can participate, we want to chat a little bit and get some more background information about strokes and kind of symptoms to look out for and kind of how to kind of just be aware of different things and with your body. And who better than to talk to Dr. Juan Wasson Tekel. He is the Director of Stroke Neurocritical Care, Endovascular Surgical Neuroradiology, and we are also joined with Shena Gonzalez, who is the System Director of Neuroscience. So thank you both so much for coming in today.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. So before we get into all the information about the 5K and how people can obviously participate, let's talk a little bit about strokes and their background.
Absolutely. Stroke, as most people would understand, is a devastating disease. It is a neurological emergency. It basically is generally divided into two categories. When a vessel or a pipe in our brain is blocked or clogged, and that is called ischemic stroke. About 87% of patients have that type of stroke, but about 13% of patients have a hemorrhagic stroke, and that is when that pipe bursts and blood flows all around the brain. So again, by far the most common type of stroke is ischemic stroke, and that's really what we want to talk about today. And really is what we would like the public to know is that people need to understand their risk profile. What risk profile means is that there are risk factors for stroke, and they need to work hard to address those risk factors in order to decrease their risk of having a stroke. For example, if you take high blood pressure, if someone has high blood pressure, they have almost 8 times, or they're 8 times more likely to have a stroke than someone who doesn't have high blood pressure. If someone has diabetes, for example, they are 2 to 3 times more likely to have a stroke than someone who doesn't have diabetes. And a number of other risk factors, including high cholesterol, sedentary lifestyle, obesity, and family history of previous strokes, and all this increase someone's risk of having a stroke. So it really is imperative that one works hard in order to control those risk factors. It's almost like a one-to-one communication between having the risk factors and having a stroke. So if you reduce your risk of risk factors, then you will reduce your risk of having a stroke.
Definitely. And when a stroke, or when someone does have a stroke, is it kind of just so suddenly just hit somebody out of the blue?
Absolutely. It's instantaneous. So stroke symptoms are sudden, and as it's described in the Be Fast acronym, B stands for balance issues. People could have disequilibrium. People could have vision changes. They could lose sight of, for example, half of their hemisphere, the right half or the left half. Or facial droop. The fast F stands for facial droop. A stands for arm weakness, one side or the other. S stands for speech disturbance, slurring of speech or difficulty understanding. And really T is for time. Time is brain. So these are symptoms of stroke. It's instantaneous, but it's not a monophasic event, or it doesn't just hit and stops. It is a progressive phenomena. It evolves over time. That's why it's important to come to the hospital quickly, because you can stop the fire early, right?
Of course.
It can burn some, but you can still be able to stop it from progressing and causing more damage.
Definitely. And what could that damage be, or what could happen to someone who does suffer a stroke, and if they're not aware of what to look out for, what could happen if they kind of just keep progressing without going to the hospital?
Absolutely. So that's really where we need to talk about recognizing strokes. So if you have this Be Fast acronym, signs and symptoms on somebody or on your body, then you need to act fast. Acting fast means being able to go to the nearest best facility that can handle strokes. And there's 2 types of treatments. One is a medicine that is injected through the IV. It's called a clot buster. It's called an IV thrombolytic agent. It's called TPA. And that's injected through the IV, and it's navigates through the body, finds where the clot is, and then it will try to dissolve it. It works well in a lot of patients, and that's one treatment. In a lot more patients who have a large pipe clogged, it may not be as effective. In those patients, need to go to a specialized facility to have their clot physically removed from the brain. And these facilities include, for example, in Cameron County, Valley Baptist Medical Center, and in Hidalgo County, South Texas Health System, specifically McAllen Medical Center. So these are facilities that are capable of doing these kinds of specialized treatments.
Definitely. And so with this, we obviously want to raise awareness, and we want people to be aware and to keep that BFAST in mind, especially if they're noticing any of those symptoms or signs. And so what better way than to raise awareness by doing a 5K? They are always so great, and a lot of the community loves to come out. So I know there is one coming up, the BFAST 5Ks. So tell us a little bit about how people can get involved.
Right. So South Texas Health System actually offers a wide array of services for stroke, from the freestanding emergency departments, receiving emergent care there, to McAllen Medical receiving the advanced treatment for stroke, to their recovery at the Edinburgh Rehab Center, which is a stroke certified center. So we have two primary stroke centers, McAllen Medical and Edinburgh Regional Medical Center, hosting the 4th annual BFAST Beat Stroke. And to kick off Stroke Month, which is May, we're hosting it on April 27th.
Perfect.
At 7:30 a.m. That's when the race starts. It will be held at the Edinburgh Regional Medical Center campus. We also offer the mini health fair at 6:45. We have a bunch of vendors, so it's going to be a whole bunch of fun for family and friends to come, help us raise stroke awareness, and also target the at-risk population of, the 50s, 40s, 30s, even 20s, because Rio Grande Valley is, we have a young population here of stroke in comparison to other areas. So we invite you all to come and join us.
Definitely. And so why do you think it's so, do you think that, when you decided to do this is the 4th annual, correct? Raising awareness on strokes, is it something that you realized wasn't being talked about very much, or there wasn't a lot of awareness and people were kind of forgetting that, hey, this could affect me or a loved one?
I think that we initially did this to specifically target that at-risk population. And we've done, and everyone here in the Rio Grande Valley has done a lot of stroke community outreach, but this is something that we initiated initially 4 years ago to have a little bit more fun,
of course,
and yet raise that awareness amongst our community.
Of course, most definitely. And if you want to get some more information, you can go to www.southtexashealthsystem.com/fast, or you can go ahead and give them a call if you have any questions. And where can people go ahead to sign up actually for the 5K?
They can sign up online at the website you have just mentioned.
Perfect.
We do not have on-site registration, so packet pickup will be on Friday, April 26th, and all benefits will go to Stroke Research and Education Foundation, which is specifically targeting education, raising awareness, and research for prevention and treatment of stroke.
Definitely. So that's just helpful. It's like a big full circle, everything. So it's really fantastic. So I want to thank you both so much for coming in today and offering this great information, and of course offering this way for people to participate and then as well get educated and better prepare themselves for anything that could arise, any situations, not only for themselves but also a loved one that they take to notice anything in them. So again, thank you so much for coming in today.
Absolutely.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.